Welcome to another episode of Estate Planning Nightmares and How to Avoid Them, the show that highlights the importance of estate planning and why everyone needs to do it. And of course, the unfortunate consequences of what happens far too often if people haven't planned. I'm your host, John Braddock, author of the Amazon bestseller, Click Here When I Die, and founder of My Life and Wishes, an online planning and document storage solution created to make things easier for those that you love. Today, we have another exciting episode for you. I'm thrilled to introduce to you my friend, attorney Ledly Jennings. Let me give you a little background on Ledly. Ledly started his own firm after 3 years at Stevens Inc., which is Arkansas's largest investment bank. That experience, along with his time at Stan Miller Law, has given him unique perspective and expertise in serving high net worth clients and helping them to preserve their legacy. Ledly has practiced in estate planning, business, tax planning, probate, and trust administration, and incorporating various strategies to help families preserve wealth. He's focused on representing architectural and farming clients, high net worth individuals, and family-owned and closely held businesses in all aspects of estate planning. Ledly's education includes his JD from the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, William H. Bowen School of Law, and a master's in business administration from the University of Arkansas. He's also obtained a valuable certificate of blockchain and law professions, as well as Series 7 and 63 licenses. Ledly is a native of Magnolia, Arkansas. He practices in all four corners of the state, as well as Central Arkansas. Welcome, Ledly.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I really appreciate you taking some time to join me today. And I love the Arkansas area, as a matter of fact. A lot of people don't know this. I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma for a couple of years and used to spend quite a good bit of time up in Arkansas. So you guys probably have a name for people in Oklahoma who come over to Arkansas, right?
Yeah, but we won't mention that here.
Oh, I hear you. Well, welcome. And, as always, I like to ask people about their passion. I mean, passion's what drives us all, right? Gets us up out of bed in the morning, gets us going. I'm on a mission to save 1 million families from the nightmare that we lived through. That's my passion. But as a estate planning attorney, can you share a little bit about what drove you to that instead of, criminal law?
Yeah, I kind of stumbled into being a lawyer. Didn't really plan on that, but then I was very intentional when I got into estate planning. So I think I became a lawyer after watching the first season of Suits over one weekend. I was just like, I got really into that show. And I think that Monday I applied to law school and never thought about being a lawyer before. So that was kind of unique, but yeah, I spent some time in the banking world and did general counsel work for that. And then when I really focused on estate planning, I wanted to do something I could be passionate about and actually have an impact on clients. And I saw that estate planning fit that entire bill because everything we do is very relational and it has an impact beyond just the clients I'm dealing with because it goes on to their family. And my firm's philosophy, our slogan is a good steward firm. So what that is just how we manage assets. It's a biblical philosophy that we are to be good stewards of everything we have. And part of estate planning is being good stewards to the next generation. We minimize taxes, avoid probate, all that stuff, but we put them in a position to be successful and have an impact with the wealth.
Wow, that's fantastic. I love that. Good steward firm. And you know what I love about estate planning attorneys is it's future focused. I mean, if I get in a car accident, somebody sues somebody else, it's very immediate, right?
Right.
One and done. This is about the really long-term perspective, and we never know when it's going to occur, and hopefully not till a long way down the road. But again, for my listeners, they hear enough of this, don't put it off because you don't have the crystal ball to know when that date's coming, right?
Exactly. And we
Yeah.
see that a lot talking about it because it takes a special kind of client to really develop an estate plan. They have to see that future impact because most likely they're never going to see if their estate plan is successful or not because they won't be here. So it takes a vision forward type family to implement it properly.
Oh, exactly. The thing I always say when I talk to people is they're like, yeah, I should do it. Those kind of things. What's the point? What's the purpose? Blah, blah, blah. Right. So what I always say is, think about it this way. What do you want the experience to be like for your family after you die? You know, that's a pointed question. I mean, I'm sure there's some people who say, I don't really care, I'm gone, right? But we don't want them as a client then, right?
Right.
Very, very selfish because having an estate plan is not selfish. It's forward looking. It's doing something for others because it doesn't benefit me at the end of the day. It benefits my family, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, we call the show Estate Planning Nightmares. And, I certainly don't do that. And, there's no intent on putting fear into people. Um, but it's really about stories and sharing things and getting people to realize these things can happen and just getting people to think about their own life situations. And I always find the best way to do that is through stories, and I know you're a younger attorney in the estate planning field, and hopefully you haven't had a lot of clients pass away or die at this point. But I know you do have some stories. So if you could share a story or two, that'd be great. You and I had touched on earlier things like overlooked assets or poorly drafted plans, but I'll just let you lead with it.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to learn is stories. That's how I learn everything. And then when you were asking me about nightmares, I was thinking, yeah, I'm a younger attorney. I don't really have many, but then I sat down and really thought, what are the biggest headaches in my practice right now, and what clients are reoccurring that I don't enjoy as much. And so that's when I thought about that. I thought of a couple of main instances that we have right now. One of the biggest things is overlooked assets. So it's just simple as that. They could even have an estate plan, but if a specific asset is not in the plan properly, we'll wind up in a mess. I have one client right now that they didn't have any planning in place, but they were pretty diligent in payable on death designations and joint ownerships and that kind of thing, which is a good thing. But the bulk of their estate was in one large commercial property. And for one reason or another, they refinanced at one point in their lives and it was just in the husband's name, and then he passed away. So now we are sitting there with everything's taken care of except for this one property, and it's well over $1 million value. So we're sitting there trying to take this entire estate through probate just because they left one name off of a deed, and that was not their intention. And you have to sit there and explain that to the grieving spouse that, yeah, I know this wasn't what you guys intended, and now we have to deal with that. So it opens it up to a lot of different issues.
Wow, and it's so important. I talk to people a lot about do you have trust maintenance programs or client care package or VIP program or whatever you want to call it? And the importance of uh, law practices like yours having those solutions for your client, I think is critical because too often people think, all right, I just visited Ledly, I've got my estate plan, it's all put together, set it and forget it, and don't have to think about it again. But then a year goes down the line, and I've just purchased a commercial building, and I don't think that that's going to need to be titled in the name of the trust or whoever I'm working through the process. And all of a sudden, all the hard work could blow up. So, the importance of reviewing the estate plan on an annual basis is critical because I need I need you to tell me, John, what happened over the course of the last 12 months? What assets have you acquired? What have you disposed of, et cetera, just to keep a plan solid. So, how long has this been in probate, or do you believe it will be in probate?
Well, so it's fairly new scenario, so about a month since we started this process, but Arkansas has a waiting period of 6 months, so we'll at least be in there that long. Um, Another issue is in Arkansas, when you pass away, you like to think your spouse gets everything, but really your kids have a right to some of that property. So in this situation, we were lucky that the whole family gets along. They agree. They want the mom to have everything. So we're agreeing to that separately. But if some families are not so lucky, and then she's left with having to divide up that large asset that was probably her retirement plan with her children. So, um, yeah, it'll be at least 6 months. Hopefully, it'll be cut and dry after that. But you never know with these situations.
Yeah, I mean, I hear some situations where probate's gone on for a couple of years, and thankfully for your client that the family gets along and they can agree, because far too often families don't agree, and even if they've all been great siblings to one another through the years, all of a sudden there's a pot of money falls on the table. They might not be so agreeable, right?
Right, right. Yeah, and it can even be smaller assets. Like I was another situation with that I have in my firm with an overlooked asset. It was just a small brokerage account that a wife set up that she wanted to benefit her kids. I mean, I think there's $5,000 or $6,000 in it. Nothing large. But they had their will, they had everything taken care of, but she forgot about that one asset, and it had no payable on death designation. So luckily, with the small estate process, it can be a quick probate process in Arkansas. But then we ran into issues where one of the kids was in prison. So we have to figure out, how do we get them to sign various things, and it just drug on and on. So it doesn't even have to be a big asset like this commercial property. It can be something as small as a bank account.
Uh, so let me ask this question. So, and I don't know if it's the same everywhere or state specific. So, if I have a trust and 80% of the assets are all listed in the trust and those kind of things, but I have a scenario like this commercial property, right, that was not titled in the trust, nor no payable on death. It was in my name only, and I died. So now we have a probate situation. Does that put the entire state into probate, or just that one piece?
Just that one piece. The trust, so say they had the trust funded with everything else, that would all stay private. But any assets they have in their name that weren't in the trust or designated would have to go through probate. So in this situation, if we had a trust for these clients and we just somehow forgot to put that commercial property in there, we typically have what I always explain to clients is an airbag. It's a mechanism that I hope never gets used, but it's there in case we need it. And that's called the pour over will. So basically, they would have a will that says, if I pass away with anything in my name, pour it over into my trust. So it's a way of ensuring everything gets in the trust, but that still has to go through court and the probate process.
So a pour over will is a critical component of trust.
Right. It helps me sleep a little easier at night, knowing that even if we forget things, it'll end up where it's supposed to go.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, very cool. What else do you got? I'm sure you've got at least another good story.
Yeah, and well, I did want to hit on, you mentioned the maintenance program. That's
Yeah,
something,
let's talk about that.
yeah, it's fairly new. We're actually just launching one January 1 for our clients, but we've always done kind of a 2 to 3 year checkup call. And now I want to do that every year, because I've noticed on that, every time I have a call with somebody, we've given them their homework, their marching orders, like, you got to go to the bank and make sure this account's in there. but we always have that checkup call, and there's always an asset or two missing. So every time we have that yearly call, it's kind of like insurance because we're double checking our work and their work regularly to make sure it works. That's a big benefit that I'm hoping to start implementing with this regular maintenance program.
Yeah, again, I think it's critical. I've subscribed to it's called a client care package that my estate planning attorney has had for numerous years after we signed up. And really the thing for me was it's just a no-brainer because getting the trust done, it was a pretty big check I had to write. But
Mhm.
now I feel good about things. But then, my mind kind of tells me, oh, if I have to pick the phone up and call them with a question, or something's up with one of the kids, or I want to disown them, or whatever, yeah, it's going to be a big bill again. I don't want that, right? But if I know I can, pay a modest annual price, knowing that I have unfettered access, you're going to help review my plan. If I have a question, I can send you an email or call you and not be concerned that 3 weeks later there's going to be a bill in the mailbox.
Right.
That's comforting for me as the client.
Yeah, it is, and it's really an easy sell when you think about it because it's like another insurance policy that everything's done right, but also you have access to someone that you can call without getting that big bill. And another benefit I've seen with mine that we're starting is power of attorneys need to be updated every 5 years or so, and that's part of a benefit of our package is we update those for you, no charge. So it's a good way to keep your documents up to date too.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, so many people don't think about that. Think about that, or even beneficiaries, right?
Mhm.
Maybe they got a trust, maybe they start a new job or or buy an individual life insurance policy or something, and I'm not thinking, right? And so I just name Michelle as beneficiary. No, I can't do that. It has to be the name of my trust, right?
Right.
Um, and just to have those reminders is extremely helpful, I think, to the clients.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where are you located? You're in Magnolia, Arkansas, and also Little Rock. Are they close? Because like my geography is not great.
Yeah, they're about 2 hours apart, so a good distance. Little Rock's the capital, and then Magnolia is a smaller town in Arkansas that I grew up in, and have a lot of connections there. And there's really a need in the market, so I definitely had to hang my shingle in Magnolia for sure.
Oh, that's fantastic. So any of our listeners who are in Arkansas anywhere, uh, uh, Ledly is a great resource and a fantastic attorney and someone that you should reach out to. Be it you just are getting started, or maybe you have a scenario where you've got a will, you got some kids, but they're grown, and the will's 10, 15 years old. It certainly needs to be reviewed and updated. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best way is visit my website, ljenningslaw.com. We got all our information on there, phone number, email, um, and LinkedIn. I post on there quite a bit. So if you need some informational stuff, follow me on that as well.
Great. And what I'll do is I'll post in the show notes for our listeners your firm name, the address, phone number. I'll put your link to LinkedIn as well as your Facebook.
Yep, that would be great.
Fantastic.
And And another benefit, just to plug your stuff, we're one of your newest clients for My Life and Wishes. So that's another benefit for my clients to have that portal and the various benefits of that. So we're excited to have that rolling out to my existing clients and new clients.
Well, we appreciate it, and we're certainly grateful to have you as a partner. And yeah, Most of our listeners know. Those that don't, people say, what is that portal? Those kind of things. The easiest way for me to describe it is if I don't make it home tonight, my family will have access to everything that they need to know, including copies of trust documents, insurance policies, all at the touch of a button from anywhere on the planet. And with the digital age, that's the way to get it done. Because if I don't make it home tonight, it's going to take my daughter a while to get here from Florida, and instead of having to dig through all dead dad stuff trying to find these things, they'll know it immediately. So, and most importantly, they'll know the name of my estate planning attorney, who is probably the first phone call they should be making.
Right, right. I always say that. I mean, yeah, we're avoiding probate and all that, but the main thing we're doing here is organizing. Every asset you have, we're putting it in one spot to simplify everything.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, is there any question that I didn't ask that you're thinking, man, I wish he asked me that?
That's a good question. I mean, I think we covered mostly everything. I really like diving into the philosophy of estate planning and how it's more than just a set of legal documents. We're training our heirs and beneficiaries for how to manage wealth, how to grow it, and how to actually have an impact. And anyone that wants to sit down and talk about it, I love talking about how that training program is incorporated in my estate plans and how I like to draft a trust. So, happy to do that anytime.
Well, and the folks that you serve, and the people in Arkansas, they're fortunate to have a good steward law firm like yours, Ledly. And I certainly can't thank you enough for being on the show. It's been insightful for me, as I'm sure it has for our listeners. And for that, we're grateful. A big thanks to you, our listeners. Please feel free to reach out to Ledly. Again, I will have all his information in the show notes. And as always, plan ahead and make it a great day.